Hi, this is Representative Jeff Morris from the 40th Legislative District, Position 2. I'm up here on top of the State Capitol building to talk to you today a little bit about some of the energy policies I've been working on since you first elected me, actually back in 1997. You know, some of these policies are very dry, boring subjects, but because of the way that the world's going with climate change policy and a desire to have cleaner, renewable technologies as part of what powers our plugs when we plug them in, some of the policies I've been working on your behalf for the last decade are now starting to bear fruit every day around the state of Washington. You may not know this, but the Washington State Capitol has the largest solar array of all 50 state Capitol buildings in the United States. We have 20 kilowatts total here on the roof, 10 kilowatts on the Senate side and 10 kilowatts on the House side. The energy here that we generate helps offset the use here at the State Capitol. And people all around the 40th Legislative District in Skagit and Whatcom and San Juan counties are starting to put PV solar arrays up on their rooftop to generate some of their own load. As a matter of fact, last year I put a small system, not nearly as big as this, on my rooftop in Mount Vernon, Washington. And during the summer I generate about a third of my electricity comes from the solar panels on the top of my roof. Some of the problems that people face in trying to buy this type of technology and put them to use in their everyday life was there were barriers not only with the cost, but also with trying to get permits to put this type of technology to use. So a lot of times the city, when you walk in the door and say, I want to put in a small wind turbine or I want to put in a photovoltaic solar panel, didn't know what the regulations were and often would say, we need to study it for 6 months. Well, that's a barrier. And these systems are expensive, but the well-being it creates for people to generate their own electricity and have some energy independence really goes a long ways as far as people's sense of community and what they're leaving behind for their children as far as the world goes. Some of the things that we've done is policies like net metering, a statewide interconnection standard. One of the challenges that Washington State faced is that with 63 utilities across the state, how you'd hook up these solar panels would vary 63 different ways. Places like California, where they have a statewide interconnection standard, which means you hook these up the same no matter where you're at in the state of California, lets people like Costco and other folks sell these panels off the shelf. Whereas it was a lot more difficult if you wanted to do this on your own. You'd have to go down and negotiate with the local utility. We have a statewide interconnection standard, and that's something I personally put into place a few years ago. We have net metering, which means you can run your meter backwards when you generate more electricity than you're actually using. And also we have a production tax credit that pays you up to 85 cents a kilowatt hour above what you get on the net metering. What that does is help pay you back for making this type of investment sooner. This is the solar DC to AC inverter that takes the DC power and converts it into AC, or alternating current, which is what you use in the plug-ins in your home. You know, a lot of the effort to not only break down barriers for you to have energy independence at your home, but the jobs created with this type of technology is really being viewed as some of the huge economic growth of the future. There was a Rolls-Royce study back in the early part of this decade that said there's going to be 2/3 more jobs created in clean technologies than in the aerospace industry worldwide between then and 2020. A lot of people don't know this, but Xantrex and another company called Outback are based down in Arlington, Washington, near the 40th District, and employ many people, but they are the major inverter manufacturers in the world. Matter of fact, I would say that 80% of all the inverters made in the world are made between Burnaby, British Columbia, and Bend, Oregon. Germany's got a big market, but we have a big cluster of these types of companies that make these inverters right here in our neighborhood. So, you know, for the fact that people want to have more energy independence because they want the job opportunities, the economic success, we've been working very, very hard developing policies to make this a reality here in Washington State. There's other types of technologies as well, but the work we've done has been immense, and if you'd like to have more information about how you could do something like this in your own home, you can contact the phone number at the end of this videotape. It's a good system, and energy independence, again, is a thing that people would like to pursue, and I've been working on your behalf to make that a reality for people and make it as easy as possible to implement.